Hey guys, Hens here, and today I'm gonna make a reaction video. I've seen a video from King Wolf that went over a forum post from the developers, and there was so much misinformation in this video that I think I have some merit to maybe react and clear some things up. Yeah, there's a little bit of rambling. I think I'm gonna cut this a little bit, so if you want to watch the full video, you might want to link in the description, but let's go.
Until you see what the dev says in this post right here, it seems that our fears as killer mains are probably gonna happen, and you're just gonna have to take it in the chin or quit the game. My advice to you guys, and I don't really want to say this, man, but you might have to quit the game. Drop a like.
Oh, I don't think he's serious. I don't know. So the overall topic here is, what will killers do when all the strategies have been removed from the game? So this is the first misconception. Will tunneling and slugging ever get removed from the game? No, I don't think they will, and I don't think they should. And I think this is generally also the opinion that the devs hold. So if you're worried about that, I don't think you should. One more thing though, should they be nerfed? That's a different question. And I think this is a heavy misconception that probably I don't think the guy that made the video quite understood, and either the forum post also did not understand this. So yeah, it's more about nerfing them, not about removing them entirely.
Like on today's video, subscribe if you're new, you know, all that good stuff. Now, I was streaming earlier and someone brought it to my attention. They posted a link. It was a post in the behavior forums, and someone asked the question, pretty much a question that I would ask, or any real killer main that plays to win every match would ask. What will killers do after all the strategies have been removed from the game? What are we gonna do, right? What is the plan? There's only so many strategies before you just have to give in and start 12 hooking survivors in a, and this is what I really, here's what every time I ask this question, I'm not thinking about it from a nurse perspective or a blight. Those S tier killers are gonna thrive no matter what. Okay, I could slug a whole lobby in minutes with nurse, like 3-4 minutes, right? If I really wanted to. But like Ghostface, man, Pig, these killers become obsolete once phase 2 passes in DBD. If the way they're making it sound is gonna be this bad, bro, I just don't see any M1 killers being viable unless
I don't know what he's talking about. There was anti-tunneling on a roadmap. That's it. There was nothing else. Like what do you mean by making this sound? Like, what actually did you read? I think there's some kind of like echo chamber where people like me making it worse than it seems, and like also, yeah, I don't know. It's a little bit odd, because what actually are you talking about? You have nothing. Like,
there's like a significant buff to these killers. But let's go ahead and look.
True.
Okay, so
I mean, so the gap between killers is a huge one, and he's absolutely right that this needs to be lowered. But yeah, this is a process that will take time. But if you look back at DBD like 1.5 years ago, you will see a lot of the killers from the lower bracket actually have gotten buffed. And that is a process that will continue and will need to continue over time. This is not something that happens from one day to the other. That is a slow process. And I think if you look like a year from now, we'll probably be in a better spot. But yeah, well, I mean, yeah, I would just advise you to compare tier lists. Look where Freddy is now. Look where he used to be. And yeah, there's a lot of those killers. Also Myers. But yeah, there's a long way to go. I agree. Like, this will probably hit the low tier killers more than the high tiers, and that's not good in general. But that's a problem that DBD has that will need to get tackled, regardless of this.
Do after strategies have been removed from the game. Once all these anti-stuff are implemented, what are the killers supposed to do after SWF dominates games further? What can you do against Sabo squads? The devs are cooking their own game.
Sabo squads, bro, Sabo's so bad. I don't know why everyone is so scared of Sabo. Like, Sabo, unironically, like, I can count on one hand. I mean, it's like, if it's done really well, it can be incredibly oppressive. But like, on the high level, you should be more afraid of pallet saves. I'll be honest. Like, Sabo squads, like, I'm sorry, but like, there's like, in most maps, you can do a lot. And map rings are going to be gone next patch, so.
This level, when the devs stream themselves playing DBD, you know they are bad. They have no experience in the top brackets, and this is 100% my take. This is what I'm saying. It sounds like me saying it. It's not me, but it sounds like me saying it, because if you guys remember when they dropped 2v8 and it showed the devs playing against these creators, bro, they sucked, bro. I can already tell you they get cooked in the high brackets. You could just tell. I honestly believe in Now, this is far like maybe conspiracy theory, but I feel like in that second match of 2v8, I feel like they turn on some sort of aimbot, bro, for the Huntress, man. I saw them.
Yeah. So the devs suck, and if they do play well, then they're cheating. Nah, bro, you can't be serious, right? Like there's no way. I was like,
I don't know. I wasn't there. I don't know what's really going on.
that is like full on brain rot. Like you can't be serious. I don't know if this is like sarcasm or not, but yeah, I mean, Peanuts is a good Huntress player. So that's actually, if someone calls you a cheater just because you're playing so well, that's a compliment. So yeah, I'm sure Peanuts is gonna appreciate it.
Just go watch it if you don't believe me. When they first released 2v8 and they showcased the gameplay, go watch it, man. You'll see what I mean. They don't play their own game on this level. If they did, they would.
So Jeff is a survivor main, a pretty good one at that. I think he played Killer, if I'm not mistaken, and it was Peanuts, right? So Peanuts played, I don't know. I mean, it's like, it's not that serious, man. They're just trying to have fun. I think there's like a big disconnect because like the majority of the community in Dead by Daylight are not that competitive. You look at it from that angle, but a lot of them just don't. And like a lot of the players just don't. Like this is your own bubble and you're creating your own bias because like, I don't know, they probably don't care. They're having a great time with the dust. It's like in voice chat. It's like, that's it, you know?
Understand why we got to be strategic. Remember the word strategy, okay? Remember, okay?
Carol.
They just don't get it. They would rather listen to the survivors and the survivors act like it's not like that. And it's pretty much what it is, right? Here's the arguments I see, okay? You're going to have the survivors who say, it's a scummy tactics that what y'all are doing, the slugging, the tunneling, whatever. And then you're gonna have others say, any real good SWF can counter everything that you're doing. And I agree with that survivor, okay? Because they've already implemented all this stuff to prevent you from slugging, camping, and tunneling. I mean, look at the damn perks, bro.
So I think there was stats one time and how many survivors play 4-man's worth. I think it was like single-digit %, right? Like 8% somewhere. So like the reality is that 80% of the survivors play solo queue in Dead by Daylight. There are some duos, some trios, and very rarely 4-mans. And it's true, like if 4 survivors group up, then a lot of the balancing just goes out of the window. Yeah, that's absolutely true. And then that's when the lower tier killers, they keep falling behind. But if you were to balance for that, then you would literally alienate 80% of your players. Like, you have to also realize that. Like, who do you actually want to balance for, right? Like, do you want to balance for the majority? Or do you want to balance for the edge case and leave the majority of your players behind? The answer is pretty obvious in this case.
Bro, okay? They got perks. Bro, they got boons. You feel me? Stuff like that. Let's just keep going,
boons.
Man. You guys, we could just beat this dead horse over and over.
What?
You don't even know what those changes will be. This is Avon Fallen who's replying to the post. You don't even know what
that is such a good point. You don't even know what it's going to be. Like, what is this dude posting before it even happens? Like, what the hell?
Changes will be. In most of the games, you can win without any tunneling. Most. Camping or whatever. Sometimes it is needed, yes. Sometimes it is needed, yes. But not all the time.
Great point.
Maybe we can wait. What exactly will be changed? I can tell you right now that Avon Fallen has never experienced the top brackets of being a killer main with Ghostface, Pig, Freddy. I can already tell you. Okay, whenever I see stuff like this, where I can already tell you, like,
no, this is peak brain rot. This is us versus them brain rot because they're making such a great point. You don't even know what's changing about it. I was like, that's a dead bee's horse to say, oh my god, you must be bad at the game. Like, really? I mean,
the real top brackets, like the real ones that I show you guys, no way. Go watch me play versus the number 4 team in DBD or the number 1 team in DBD using Freddy while they synergize the perks together really well.
What?
Go watch that 20+ minute game. Come back and tell me if you think this guy made those brackets to see what the game was really like at that level.
Okay.
Then we can doom stomp that killers will be leaving or whatever, just to realize that it was all an overreaction. The usual stuff. So yeah, it's fine.
What a great point.
It's fine.
What a great
you
point.
Don't experience the top brackets. You just don't. You don't have the knowledge, man. It's like,
oh my god.
You know, playing in the top brackets like eating.
Anyone that disagrees is probably low MMR. That's so true. No experience at all.
And gaining all the knowledge. You feel what I'm saying, bro? You don't have to be a rocket scientist to accurately predict the outcome, especially with these devs. I mean, the last time they announced anti-camping, we got anti-face camping. I don't think anyone has found it difficult to stand 5 extra feet. It's actually what, 15 meters, 14 or 13? It's not 5. You're trying to minimize the situation, man. Okay, that's what you're doing.
No, anti-camp is...
Basically, take your time.
To be honest, I think anti-camp is complete failure. I'll be honest. I think it does almost nothing. At most, it like teaches very new players to not just face camp the hook, which might be kind of good for the gameplay. I mean, yeah, well, I mean, nobody can disagree. If the killer like face camps the hook, it's kind of like a waste of time, right? Like you're just waiting for things to happen. So, not the worst in the world, but at the same time, I personally hate the anti-camp, and the fact that it's not shown to your teammates makes it even more useless because like your team doesn't react on it. And yeah, overall, big hater.
Bypass this feature. Okay, so then there's reassurance. Like I said, you got reassurance.
Sure.
You feel me? You got
reassurance is such an overrated perk. You know why? Because the cost of one survivor rotating is oftentimes more than the 30 seconds gained. But yeah, I mean, it feels really bad when a hook is like what, 100 seconds. I'm also like, I don't know if the 70-second hook stages were like the best idea. It kind of like slowed the game down. I'm not the biggest fan, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like everyone's like doom posting about reassurance, but like how often do you actually lose to that? I feel like if you were to make like a 16 best perk meta loadout, I don't even know if reassurance makes the cut. I feel like it doesn't. Like it's really not that strong.
Shoulder the burden. So even if you
that
decide you want to trade hooks or whatever, blah, 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 you can still take a hook state. There's help in the game already for you guys that just don't want to use the perks because you're lazy. You want...
Dude, teamwork perks in solo queue are terrible, even if they are conceptually OP. Like, I'm telling you, it's so hard to make these things work. Shoulder is really, really strong. It's one of the strongest perk survivors I've gotten in a long time. And yeah, you could definitely argue that that perk tipped the scale on the very high level quite severely. So yeah.
Want to use your stuff instead of using what behavior gave you, so you don't have to practice. You don't have to get better at the game.
Listen to how he's talking. Your stuff. Like this is like literally peak us versus them. I find it a little bit sad, man. I find it a little bit sad. I feel like playing both worlds and having like a little bit of empathy and understanding for the other side would really, really go a long way.
So I generally don't think the sky is falling, everything is awful approach has any basis in history, let alone the zero details they've actually announced so far. Remember
Great point again.
Never nerfed made for this. Remember the combos, bro? And they started to lose a bunch of people and the survivor queue times were very high. You guys remember that?
That's a really good point made for this. Like way too long to get changed. But I don't think this would happen anymore. I think there were some lessons learned there. And if such a situation would happen again, I really do hope that it would not take that long. I don't think I was a consultant back then, so I'm not sure what happened there. But I do not see that happening again. But maybe I'm gonna eat my words. But the thing about Made for this, like, yeah, it was ridiculously strong and like kind of like broke the game on the high level to some degree, especially for like the 110 killers. Playing Hunters in that meta, I completely stopped playing Hunters when Made for this sort of thing because it was so obnoxious to face.
As Avon Fallen points out, we haven't seen or tested out these changes yet. We should keep in mind they've never balanced the game around that mythical top high MMR area either. It's always been more about the most players experience in their trials.
Yeah.
Not what's possible by the extreme experts that make up like 6% of the whole or so. And this is where a lot of us are looking down. We're looking down as the top 6% of what this guy's saying. We see from the top that they're balancing the game around the Timmies, bro. And like I say in all my videos, all this stuff you're doing is just making the SWFs stronger and stronger and stronger by giving the newer players more help. You get what I'm saying?
So yeah, okay. I mean, like, this is a preference point. It's a good point. Like, there are definitely, I don't know if I would have, I'm not sure if I'm a fan of Shoulder the Burden, for example, because like, I feel like it's kind of true. These team parks, if they're incredibly strong, they just make like the coordinated groups like so obnoxious, and in solo queue doesn't really matter that much. But yeah, it's true. I mean, like, why in the world would you balance for the comp level squads? Like, why in the world would you do that? It makes no sense. You're gonna alienate the majority of your player base.
I'm glad that this guy admitted it. You know what I mean? They never.
What do you mean admit?
The game around that mythical. There's nothing mythical about it. Watch the gameplays.
I mean,
top high MMR area either.
Dude, I think high MMR is a complete joke in my opinion. I play against people who crouch in corners. It feels like they I don't know. I feel like if you're a really good killer player, you stomp the majority of your matches. That is true, even on low tier killers. I actually got to look at my stats because I was part of the beta program for the stats. And there are, if that ever releases, we can see everyone's kill rate if they choose to publish it. So I have like, what was it, 81% kill rate on Ghostface. And yeah, well, I'm pretty sure I'm at the highest MMR because, like, yeah, well, I mean, if you kill 80% of the survivors you go against, then yeah. Would have been cool to see win rate, I'll be honest, because like I oftentimes give them hatch and stuff. So, but yeah, not too bad, right? I mean, it's like if there actually was a high MMR on a low killer, I would have a way lower win rate. Makes no sense. If I would play against equal opponents, I would be sitting at what? Like, what is the intended value? Like 60%? Obviously, like I must be playing against lesser experienced opponents at that point. I'm sure we can all agree on that. If I can kill 80% of the survivors I go against in the highest MMR bracket, which I still think is a complete joke. Like, I know it's like a clickbait term, but yeah, that's literally what it is. It's clickbait. Nobody is consistently going against insane survivors and Swifts and blah, blah, blah. That just doesn't happen. And anyone who's trying to tell you that is just straight up lying.
Okay.
Or clickbaiting for their own benefit.
It's always been more about the most players' experience in their trials, which means the Timmies. That's pretty much what he's saying, okay? As David Fallen said, we haven't tested anything yet, and whatever it is, it won't be the end of the world for killers. Just look at the AFC. It's not going to be the end of the world for the killers who play the 12. It's not going to bother them. We're talking about the real killer mains that play to win. Here's the stupidity about it all, okay? You have MMR and SBM in a game, forcing it into a competitive state.
No, I disagree. I don't think the matchmaking is so loose that if you're really good at the game, you can win almost every game, even on low tier killers. As will be proven once the stats release, but yeah, for now, I guess that's my opinion. If you disagree with that, that is okay. But I also play the game a ridiculous amount, right? Like, I know that's not the average person's experience, and if you're less experienced, it can oftentimes feel like a real uphill battle. I get that.
And now you have players who are competitive and play right competitively and try to win every game. That's just the way it goes, right? That's what happens when you drop MMR, SMM in a game and you force it into a competitive state. And now you're saying, well, we're balanced.
All right, so so when MMR got released, a little bit of a history lesson. There was actually high MMR. I think at the beginning when high MMR released, there was high MMR. That was an insane experience because we only played against Blight, Nurse, and maybe Spirit a few times. I remember that so well. Everyone ran that hard. It was an insane time to play Dead by Daylight. And yeah, because the game is not balanced for the high MMR, the soft cap got lowered and lowered. What does it mean? That meant we had more variety on killers, we had more variety on opponents, we had more variety on pox. And yeah, that's kind of like you could almost call it a band-aid fix, right? Because the game is not made to have the best players play against each other. It does not work. It becomes so boring because of map offerings and because of insane medkits. There are so many things that are not really balanced enough to make such an experience work. And that's why it got removed. And right now, I don't think it exists. And I think the stats clearly back that up. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting once the stats come out for everyone. Yeah, that will be interesting.
To just play casually. So then turn the damn MMR off. What would be the need?
All right, so if you ever played the PTB matchmaking, you will realize what DVD is without MMR. You can argue that that is even more biased towards the high end because the wound starts the PTB, probably more likely to be the veterans. But you have the most ridiculous matches where it's like honestly, the close matches are the funniest in DVD, or the funniest, or like the most fun to me at least. So like if I play against baby survivors and I stomp them, I don't know, I don't have fun in that. I'm sure they don't either. And yeah, that's a similar thing on if you play against opponents that are way too good for you, then yeah, that's also not fun. So I think the balanced matches are absolutely the most fun, but the balancing does not quite allow the best players to play against each other and have a great experience. And at the same time, I don't think DBD should be balanced for the high level either. So I think it's a little bit of a thing where you have to balance it.
If you make it competitive, it's gonna be competitive.
True. I just
I
don't think it
imagine they'll
is.
eventually find themselves in an MMR bracket better suited for them, especially with the upcoming SBMM improvements.
Yeah.
This right here speaks Survivor main entitlement completely. I imagine they'll eventually find themselves in an MMR bracket better suited for them. Meaning, when they cut all your strategies off and you're forced to lose versus the SWFs at the top brackets.
The Swiss are like a single-digit percentile. Like, I don't think you would even drop. That's the thing. But I'm not denying that it feels bad. And I think like those experiences, they feel so bad that you tend to remember them more, but they're just not very common. And like, I'm sure everyone who wears a lot of hours and plays on the higher brackets will attest to this, that yeah, well, this is not, that is not that common. To actually have formans who are A, trying the hardest, and B, are really good at the game, so rare.
You'll fall to where you really need to be, because that's probably your real skill. Yeah, tell that to a Ghostface main who can't apply map pressure in Area of Damn Crows, okay? Red Forest, Garden of Joy. Don't even get me started on the infinite loops. There's infinite loops in damn Crotus Print Asylum. Are you kidding me? They'll find themselves in an MMR bracket better.
True, these maps are absolutely atrocious, especially for a low-tier killer, and I would love for them. I mean, to be fair, I think Ghostface could need some buffs, for sure. I think Ghostface could use a lot of help. The movement speed from 2v8 was actually a great idea. I think if there's some way to implement that, I think that would be great. I don't think I would do it directly as in 2v8, but maybe if nobody looked at him for X seconds, you get more movement speed to get a little bit more map traversal and incentivize a sneaky playstyle. That would be really cool. I would love that. But yeah, some of the maps are still absolutely atrocious, so I agree with that. But you also have to realize that that's not every map, right? I don't know, like you just named the worst ones. Sure, like if you get put in the worst possible scenario, you're gonna be screwed on a low-tier killer. That's absolutely true. It's like you can also say the opposite for Survivor. Like you load in on Haddonfield and you're playing against a Blight that has a meta loadout. Well, you're just screwed, right? So this is true on both sides of the spectrum.
Better suited for them. Like you're gonna lose because you can't use strategy killer. So we're gonna go ahead and put you in MMR bracket because of it. Okay, and that's where you deserve to be. Stupid.
Survivor. Why? That's actually true though. Like, I mean, okay. So one thing about tunneling camping that has to be said, it's easier to do than it is to counter, which means people can actually boost themselves into an MMR bracket where they're consistently forced to go against better opponents. And if they do that, they can kind of doom their own experience. And yeah, so if you don't have a lot of hours, like Nord is another case where like this perk will get you so many kills that you're probably going to a higher bracket. And you're going to have trouble then. Because if you consistently go against more experienced opponents, you will feel like you have a constant uphill battle. And this is where skill-based matchmaking actually gives you that experience, you know? Because yeah, well, you'll go against people that are more experienced than you.
We'll get a few crumbs and the devs will go back to catering to killers. Okay, yeah, this is out of nowhere, bro. Like what, bro? We ain't seen nothing but I don't know.
Yeah, this is brain rot from the other side. It's so funny, bro. It's running deep within DBD. It's running deep, and honestly, it makes me a little bit sad because I don't know if people are not aware of their own. I don't know. Maybe I feel like they should play more roles, like the other role a little bit more, because it's a little bit sad. The brain rot runs so deep. You always see it on Twitter. You always see it everywhere. I'm sure it's gonna be in the comments here, and yeah, well.
Oh man,
it's almost like brain fog. People can't think straight anymore. Like they can't realize that they're in reality they're just doom posting without knowing anything. They just saw something on a roadmap, no clue what it is, and they're like, oh my god, everything's gonna be so bad. You have to uninstall.
I highly doubt that introduce anything nearly as broken as you're picturing. Things like slugging have a place in this game. The devs know this and aren't going to do anything about what would essentially remove the option to slug a survivor when it's necessary.
Yes,
against Sabo squads. Now,
yes,
this is Lord Glint. I mean, I like to balance the middle game of what he's saying, but we're gonna get to the point.
He's so true. This is so real though, because this is the balance act you have to account for, and that's also where the consultants come in, because we have thousands of hours. I personally have like 12k hours. There's so many people in there who have so much experience, and they can maybe help guide the right way. Obviously, it's not easy to balance these things, but sometimes you have to slug. And if you will to make, like for example, like hypothetical, okay, we just make Unbreakable Biscuit now, forever. Like you can do that forever. Where at that point, dying under a pallet with background player would just break the game strategically. So obviously you have to avoid those scenarios and you have to find some kind of way to make this balanced. Like this is a balancing act that is hard. And maybe it will take a few attempts. But yeah. At the same time, I think slugging on Billy or Blight right now in the live game is totally OP. I thought about making a video on this. I did not for the sake of the game health. Because, yeah, old me would have probably made a video. I don't do that anymore. But unironically, if you have a slug build on one of these characters because of their mobility, there's no way solo queue has any chance. Even don't care what perks they're running, they will definitely lose. And I think, yeah, this is kind of like a nurse blight problem though. So yeah. But right now, I think on certain killers, slugging is straight up OP.
The dev says something, bro, and it really just strikes the fear in my heart.
And one thing, okay, sorry for pausing again. One thing that's a big problem with this, slugging actually is like, it's just boring to play against. I'm sorry, but like, you just sit on the ground, there's nothing to do, you watch your recovery bar, you can't even move. It's just like, the gameplay loop that exists because of it is just like boring. You don't want this. Like, you do not want this as a gameplay loop. Because this is not even about balance at that point. This is about straight up boredom. Because like, yeah, well, who actually wants to suffer through this in solo queue? Nobody.
Pretty much, to me personally, confirms. I honestly feel the anti-slug will be akin to 2v8s where only long-term slugging is punished. Like, I feel it's not going to take away killer agency. Just stop these tactics being abused by the twins. So pretty much you're nerfing the twins globally. Why don't you just do something about the twins?
That's a good point.
That's what I'm talking about.
I mean, Twins is ridiculously strong right now. Actually insane. So I would not have a big problem with Twins being nerfed because like that character, like the quality, the rework, the quality of life changes kind of made them insanely strong. If they were a little bit worse, I wouldn't have a problem with that personally. But that's a valid point because slugging is kind of like, in essence, what Twins is all about. That's just their character design. And that's a problem that might need a solution. But this is all that designing is about, right? Like you need to see what can we do and what is the right solution, what is the right approach, and how do we not create like insane edge cases where a killer like Twins barely functions anymore.
Piss poor decision making on the dev side. I've already told you guys, people that are new, right?
Bro, you don't even know what it is. What are you saying? What is bro saying? This is incredible. This is like absolute doom posting. Like I wish less people would do this. I wish there would be more rationality within the DVD community.
There's people right now that don't agree with what I'm saying at all, but listen to me guys, okay? I already came up with the idea to fix everything overnight, and it's called a bounty system, okay? A bounty system.
Okay.
Once you hook a survivor, you gain a contract. Killer instinct activates on the next survivor.
Ooh.
If you catch that survivor while the timer's going down and you do it within the timer and you hook them, you get the reward for that bounty, which could be like 5% slowdown or.
All right. So, okay. First thought on that idea, why I absolutely dislike it, because like a nurse would always activate this, right? Like, but imagine you're like a trapper. Like that's so useless, no? This would widen the gap between the low tier and the high tier killers further. I mean, it's like the conceptually, that's not a bad idea for a park, maybe. But yeah, I mean, I would have some trouble because this would probably aid high tier killers way more than low tier killers. So, and that's something that I would personally not like. But like, this is the problem with like designing things, right? Like you always have to look out and you always have to consider so many things where it's just difficult. It's not easy. And I wish people would acknowledge that a little bit more.
Longer haste or more orrery, depending on what the contract is, right? Now, you could bypass contract. I don't like that contract. Hell no, right? But it'll always be a random. You'll never know what the contract is. It'll just be random, right? Random bounties, random whatever.
I kind of like that idea.
Then you'll have weekly challenges, weekly progressions. Like, hey, collect 100 bounties a week, gain 500k blood points.
Actually, not a terrible idea.
You end camping, you end everything overnight.
I kind of agree with this. That's like what old barbecue stacks did, right? You got rewarded for hooking every survivor fresh, and you got twice the blood points, and it worked so well. I think removing barbecue stacks was probably one of the worst ideas this game has ever seen, because like, Yeah, well, we never got back to that state, right? Like it's hard to imagine, but like there were there was not much tunneling back then. The game has changed quite a lot. And like strategy, I think to some degree this is normal for games to get more progressively more sweaty and more figured out, right? As they move along. But yeah, that was something that might,
because people are going to work for that BP or badges or outfits for the week, right?
actually I like that idea.
Outfits complete these bounties.
Yeah, I'm so in favor of that. You should reward people with Ewi shards and blood points for playing some way. I 100% agree. 100% agree.
You get rid of the whole thing overnight with my system. That's my system right there. It's not a new idea, right? Warzone has bounties and stuff like that, but I'm talking about in this game, a bounty system would. Oh, I don't know, man. I'm sure
Actually,
it will be balanced.
I mean, it's like not a bad idea, but I don't know if you want to have a time on it, because at that point, like, you favor like the high tier so much more. But like, yeah, that's a problem that DVD has, you know. And one thing that is also true, that them one killers are not that bad on the low level. That's something that you have to also understand. Because like an M1 killer is easy to pilot, and if you have beginners, then playing trap is actually not that bad, you know? It's not that bad. You can trap some loops, and survivors don't know how to loop yet. So having the killer be easy to pilot is absolutely better, and that's why trappers is better than us if you give it to a brand new player. And that's a balancing act that is just hard. And I think that's something to take away, that DBD is just not really balanceable. It is not, because like you will always have outliers and you always have things to consider. And it's just, yeah, well, it depends on what you consider.
Need to be addressed.
But I really like that idea of his, to be honest. Like conceptually, that's great. Conceptually is great.
For you, majority of the killer base, this is enjoyment does not fall on killer responsibility. That's the dev responsibility. And to call these unenjoyable aspects and then target the killer mains for it, you're letting the devs off the hook, son. I'm not.
Sorry for pausing so much, but I have a lot to say on this. So I personally also don't enjoy 3-hooking that much on killer. I think it's a very cookie cutter playstyle where you always do the same things every single game, then the games like run down almost identical every time. I'm just not a big fan, because like if you follow the most meta playstyle, to me at least, on killer, I do it if I play comp or whatever. Like I'm ready to do it. I can do it. If I feel like I need to, then I will also do it. It's not like I've never camped, secured a second, or 3-hook someone. But yeah, I just have more fun playing a little bit more open. That's what makes the interactions feel more rewarding and like more unique. And that's just how I enjoy my game. I'm just not big on playing in the most efficient way. And honestly, I still think tunneling will never not be the most effective strategy in that, but I don't think it will ever get to that point. Like at worst, you will tunnel like 2 survivors at once, but like reducing the amount of survivors to 3 is just the best way to play killer. That's just do that as fast as possible. That's how you play killer. Take 1 out as fast as possible. Because once you take 2 out, you effectively won the game. Because in a 2v1, they can't really progress the gens much anymore. So yeah, that's just the gameplay loop of the objective of the killer. And that is a problem that I don't think DBD will ever fix. So you can only make it, dampen it a little bit, and make the gap between tunneling and not tunneling a little bit less wide, but you will never ever get rid of that problem. I think that's also something to understand. This is something that a problem of the core gameplay loop of Dead by Daylight.
Because of behavior's track record. Example, the AFC mechanic. Okay, so the anti-face cap mechanic. It's funny, this is never said to survivors, but I kind of agree with this guy says here, because not as relevant to survivors, because it's easily to lose all your MMR and play against bots and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like people that are new to the game.
Yes.
Even Peanuts developer said the strats like tunneling. Okay, this is where I think it's BS. Okay, I agree with this. It's not relevant to survivors, because survivors, it's easy to lose. You gain your MMR, right? It's harder for killer, man. Trust me. If you go on a win streak, you're stuck at the MMR. It's gonna take you like 50 games. It's gonna take. If I remember what the AI said about the Glico 2 system rating, it's like 50 games you have to go AFK and lose on purpose to lower your MMR. And we ain't doing all that, son. Hell no. So a developer said that strats like tunneling can increase a killer's MMR quickly and land them in a bracket where they feel they can't compete unless they keep tunneling. My guy, even Scott Junn said, this game is balanced around perks. So let's say he's right. Put them in the bracket where they feel they can't.
I think he's right.
Unless they keep tunneling. Let's say he's right. Right? How are you going to win as Ghostface in the high MMR brackets? Thinking that you can just go around 12 hooking. Anybody?
You can.
Do you think you?
Yes, I think I can. I think I can win the majority of my games on Ghostface. I mean, it's like Ghostface kind of sucks at tunneling and camping. Unless you have Play with the Food, I guess. If you have Play with the Food, it's possible, but I don't think he's that good at it. I mean, it's like 8 hooking is like the extreme, right? Like you go from extreme to extreme. But yeah, I can because I do it more often than not. Like I play the map. I try to sneak up on survivors and try to play more into the shroud than to effectively take people out, because his chases is his worst point. And I think that's why Ghostface is a low tier killer too. Like he can play the map if you play it well, but one thing he cannot do effectively is take survivors out unless you play the foot.
Now we're talking about from a killer main's perspective that wants to win every game, right? We're not talking about, well, just take the loss, buddy. Okay, just take the loss, buddy. You know, like if you can't do nothing about it, just take the loss.
I mean, it's like, bro, like this is so rigged though, right? Like how much do you think you should win in a PvP game? Like, I swear, I don't know if I'm like weird for this, but like when I played competitive games, I played them a lot, by the way. I have thousands of hours in League. I have thousands of hours in CS, Tarkov. Like I've always played like the games that were more on the competitive side. And Bardella is like the odd one out in that regard. But yeah, I mean, it's like, dude, I swear, only in Dead by Daylight do I win as much as I do. Because absolutely, I can log on the worst killer. I can literally play Trapper without my power, without my perks, without using anything but Trapper. I will still win more than I lose. Literally. Without tunneling, without camping, nothing.
So the MMR system will put you where, no one's going to do that.
And the reason for that is because my opponents are severely less experienced than me on average. Severely. They have a fraction of my experience.
You have to use strategy in this game.
I mean, if you want to win every game, yeah, sure.
Employ to increase their MMR at that rate. What? What do you mean? SWFs have no problem increasing their MMR with comms. This is a solo queue survivor right here. OP's post is even about survivors at high MMR being too strong, which just proves my point. I don't see any killers complaining about low survivors in high MMR bracket because it.
All right, so the kill stats that recently got released showed that killers actually kill more in high MMR. So I have a theory for this, that on average on high MMR, the killers are just more experienced. I don't think it's really about the balance of the game, but it really cannot be that bad if the top 5% just have like a higher kill rate overall. Like, I don't know. But like you have to realize if one Blight with 10k hours queues, like he can even get 2 survivors that also have 10k hours on the survivor side. If there are 2 survivors with 100 hours or 1000 hours, they will definitely lose, because on Survivor, the way it works, if there's one weak link that is not efficient and is an easy down, they drag the rest of the players down infinitely more. So like you cannot carry as hard on Survivor and DBD as you can in like, I don't know, Counter-Strike, for example, because you can just frag out, right? But like if this killer just goes for the 100-hour player, well, you're just gonna lose. Like that's it. Your power is very, very limited in the amount that you can carry a game.
It doesn't happen to the extent you see it happens with killers. I mean, they kind of lost me there. That doesn't really matter to me right now. We will adapt, we will overcome, or we will pick up another game. Survivors can have their 15-minute queue times from the MFT meta bag. That's what I was talking about earlier. All right, this is where it gets. This is Mandy, who's a.
Was it really 15 minutes? Dude, MFT meta was obnoxious. Obnoxious. I hope that never happens again. And yeah, well, I mean, I'll go on the rails if it ever does. Hopefully, we've learned from that mistake. But yeah, so far, I don't think that happened again, where it took so long for a perk to get balanced. I think the problem with MFT was definitely that, like, it made such a difference on the high level, and it took so long to see. But I think the devs have learned from their lesson. I'm pretty sure they did.
Administrator, dev, community manager, and this is what she has to say. She replies to this guy. I imagine they'll eventually find themselves in an MMR bracket better suited for them, especially with the upcoming SBMM improvements. Exactly this, to be honest. Killers who've reached a higher MMR by using these strategies. Dev Mandy admits strategies. Okay.
What is the admission? What? Obviously, these are strategies. So what are you talking about, bro?
Not exploitive measures, not toxic tactics. Strategies. Mandy, dev, community manager. Killers who've reached a higher MMR by using these strategies
Are you
will
okay?
slowly adjust to an MMR where they're more able to compete without them. Meaning, it's over, baby. She pretty much just confirmed that it's over, baby. Same for survivors with the extreme hiding. Survivors only hide when the game's over. The last two are the ones hiding. That's it. Their MMR will all bounce out. Survivors hiding is nothing compared to what killers have to do strategically. Okay, look, and this is what separates it for me. This is what separates it for me. She calls it strategies for the killer. And it's not strategy for survivor, it's just extreme hiding. And then comparing them and saying they're the same in all their MMR.
All right, so this is a massive misunderstanding. So MMR, the way the system works, it favors certain things quite severely because they play into the MMR system. For example, if you're like a fresh player, you have a 100 hours on killer, right? You run Nord every game. I think there's a high chance you're going to infinitely boost your MMR because you're going to get bullied all game and then you're still going to get kills late game, which means the system's like, oh, you got kills, so you did very well. The system does not understand the nuance. That's a problem with the MMR system. And the MMR system is on its way to get reworked too. This is really good because there are some deep, deep flaws in that system. And yeah, if you tunneling is just harder to counter than it is to do. If you tell a new player, all right, you hook the same guy 3 times, they will not have a problem because new survivors don't know how to loop, right? So this is an issue that kind of prevails, and like you will get to a bracket where survivors will know how to loop. That is just, it has to happen because you will not lose before that. Even if you're like completely new, you have no clue what you're doing, you don't know how to counter someone that knows how to loop, you will get there. And you know what? The game will become unenjoyable for you. And I think this is a trap that a lot of people fall into. And especially people who, like, they watch content creators and they're like, dude, you have to tunnel. Like, there's no other way to play the game. You just have to tunnel. And this is a self-fulfilling prophecy because you're boosting your MMR artificially, and then you will get to the point where this is actually a fact for you personally because you have to tunnel. And that's a problem with the system, I guess. And yeah, and also on Survivor, this is also true because if you play extremely passively and you always get the hatch at the end of the game, you will get some free wins. You will get some free wins simply because your team is good enough to carry you, and if they don't, then you get the hatch. So you will get high MMR, you will keep rising MMR, even though you're a complete baby. And you will play against people who are way, way better. So both of these strategies, long-term, play so much into the MMR system that you will go against way more experienced players, and that's one of the biggest flaws of the system in general. So yeah, I agree. And I think this is something that the YouTuber here completely mistook and misunderstood.
Will balance out. How far disconnected can you be from the killer main side, bro? Okay.
They're not.
How disconnected? Have you played your own game in the top brackets? Matter of fact, Mandy, okay, this is for me personally to you, okay? Allow me to use Ghostface on your account. Let me get you to the top brackets. I'll hand you your account back, live stream you playing Ghostface using whatever build you want in the top brackets. And I need to see you play at least 5 games, okay? Do you take that challenge, man?
All right, I can do that if you want. Like, what's the point of that? I mean, okay. Like, what is the point here? Like, I don't know. That's just such an odd statement. Like, these are employees of the company. Like, they don't actually, I don't know. Like, I think this is a little bit of an odd understanding. If you actually think, like, everyone with 10k hours should be a dev, I think that would be such a shit show. Like, you can be good at your job without being good at DVD, especially, like, they're not even designers. Like, what's that? Like,
Andy,
this has no merit at all.
Community manager, do you accept that challenge? Give me an account, and then right when I hand it to you, you got to play the games, okay? Because I can't trust nobody. I don't know if you'll go in there trying to lose games on purpose just to make it seem like you're right. Give me an account. I play Ghostface. I gives you to the top brackets. I hand you the account back. Use whatever build you want and go try to play more enjoyable for the survivors and see what happens, okay? See what happens. Oh, please.
I don't understand why he's using Ghostface. Like, Ghostface sucks at tunneling. He's one of the worst at tunneling. Because if you run into exhaustion parks, if you run into anti-tunnel, you're just straight up gonna lose. I don't know if you think Ghostface is a terrible example. Like, more fitting would be someone like Clown, maybe. That would be probably more fitting because it's more true to the nature. You will have fast chases. If the survivors play the map well, then you're gonna lose regardless. But yeah, Ghostface is one of the weakest kills in the game.
See what happens, please. Please, I beg you, Mandy. Somebody reach out to her and tell her I said that. I challenge you, Mandy, to play your own game in the top brackets with Ghostface.
Mandy does play her own game. So...
and try to 12 hook and see how bad you get bullied. See how bad you get head on, flashbang by the walls.
Yeah, this is peak brain rot. Please wake up. Holy. Like, I don't know if this is troll or not.
Just go see it. Go see it. And then when you think that you bring Lightborn, well, guess what, Mandy? You didn't bring enough Jin regression. So now the Jins are gonna fly in the top brackets. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, I think Jin regression is that good on Ghostface, personally. Like, I don't know, hot take. I feel like he used the worst possible killer as an example for this that he could.
Do, Mandy, huh? I already know I can already see the gameplay on my mind. If I would have just played like Wolf, I win this game 100% of the time. Now, I can't. Now I gotta sit here and take it. And that's pretty much what it comes down to. Forcing the killers just to take it. And if you want to leave, bye.
Bro, wow,
in a sort of judgment day.
That's some insane ego right there.
Really understand who knows how to play and who doesn't. Strategies. You're gonna cut the strategies out. How the hell can anyone compete without strategy?
This is not true. The strategies will not be cut out. And they will... I mean, it's like, you will never get rid of tunneling, period. It will always be the most efficient way to play. And that's not what this is all about.
In any game that has MMR, bro, even in chess, which the Glico 2 system is based off of, requires strategy. And you're gonna get... what's the strategy? Mind games? Mind games? Oh, well, if you're really good with mind,
I think there would be more merit to this if there was actually a system in DBD where you would actually get matched against people with the same MMR or skill-based matchmaking rating, which is not the case. So as long as that's not the case, yeah, I don't know.
Acting like the survivors, not only do they already have aura reading perks, they're about to change the add-ons to help you read the killer's aura. Meaning, what strategy? You can't mind game no more when the survivors can see your aura. Have you ever tried to mind game one survivor in the top brackets? Have you ever tried? And
yes.
If you leave a chase on one of the best survivors in the top brackets, you lost the game because you're only allowed maybe one mistake in the top brackets. Tell me I'm lying.
This top bracket, bro, this top bracket is such a joke, bro. Like, I don't know if this is clickbait. Maybe I don't watch this creator enough. I don't know if he's actually serious about this. But like, this is actually such a joke.
Lying in the comments.
I don't know. Dude, I play against Michaela who doesn't know how to run straight. Like,
only allowed one mistake.
Interesting how we have interesting how we have such a different experience, right? Like, I don't know. For him, it seems like it feels really cutthroat. To me personally, not at all.
So what they're pretty much saying is, oh well, you're gonna have to lose, man. No strategy for you. Take the L. We'll put you in a bracket where you should be to better compete. Meaning that they take the side of the top SWFs in this game, and that's all it boils down to. Okay, the top SWFs are gonna cook everybody because you can't do nothing.
Crazy misunderstanding.
Now, are we overreacting? Maybe, right? But the way she made it sound in this right here, oh man.
No, he completely misunderstood what Mandy said.
Strategies will slowly adjust to an MMR. Pretty much saying these strategies are dead, bro. So take that. Take it as you wish, but to me, it sounds like they're really coming for our heads, son. Now, are we overreacting? Maybe, because like I said, if you're using like the Houndmaster, right, and they get like Decisive Strike, I mean, basically Decisive Strike is gonna be tough, son, right? You could move to a strategy where you're just flip-flopping two survivors. You're not necessarily playing a 2v4, you're playing like a 1v2, so you would have to have like an aura reading perk that will identify the other survivors. So what's good about it is like killers like Legion, right? If you hook somebody, right, and then someone goes to the hook, you get it down, you can try to remember where the one that got unhooked went, because when you hit the feral frenzy, all you gotta do is read the killer instinct. It'll tell you where the other survivor is. You get what I'm saying? You follow my strategy on a new one that's gonna have to probably, if we're gonna have any strategy, it's probably gonna be that. But we don't know. We could be overreacting. They could be right overreacting, but the way they make it sounds like it's over for you guys, man.
No.
Deal with it. Hope you guys liked the video, man. Drop a like, subscribe. Let me know what you think in the comments. Like I said,
Yeah, okay. Well, I mean, the comments were actually pretty even worse. Like, I feel like this, like, almost like an echo chamber, right? Where everyone is like manifesting their opinion and everyone agrees and it's so cool. But I think this is a massive misunderstanding. And yeah, tunneling will probably never leave TBD. That's my prediction. I don't think it will ever get good. I like the suggestion of the contract system. That was not a bad idea. The timers is like, that will highly, highly favor the ones, but like, I wish people would stop doom posting and yeah, maybe understand a little bit more about the other side and how everyone feels about this. And yeah, maybe push the game in a better direction. But crazy video. And also what I dislike is like, I don't know, if you criticize the deaths, please don't make it personal. This is not really, I don't know. It's a little bit silly, because I feel like this is an entire misunderstanding, and hopefully this video helped a little bit clear it up. If it did, then maybe it was a good cause, and if it wasn't, oh well. But I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.